Last week, my neighbor spent $60 on weed killer and 2 hours in the hot sun, spraying down everything green that dared show up in his lawn. He was proud of it, stood back, hands on his hips, nodding at his perfectly clean yard. And I stood at my fence watching him thinking, "Buddy, you just destroyed a month's worth of omega-3 supplements. You killed something that European chefs pay good money for. You poisoned a plant that Native Americans used as medicine for centuries." He had no idea. And honestly, a few years ago, neither did I. Here's what nobody tells you. The average American yard is quietly growing some of the most nutritious, most medicinal, most valuable plants on the planet. And we're out here treating them like criminals. Today, I'm going to show you 10 so-called weeds that are almost certainly growing in your yard right now. And by the end of this video, you're going to look at your lawn in a completely different way. Some of these will shock you. One of them is sold at Whole Foods for $8 a bunch. Another one has been used by doctors since ancient Greece. And one of them, I'll get to this around plant number 9, is being bought by fine dining restaurants across the country because they can't get enough of it. So, before you grab that spray bottle, watch this first. This is all about growing smarter, living closer to the land, and finding value in places most people walk right past. One important note before we dive in: always be 100% sure of your plant identification before you eat anything from the wild. Some plants have dangerous look-alikes. When in doubt, cross-reference with a good field guide or a local expert. Okay, let's get into it. We're starting with the one you definitely know. The one that has been declared public enemy number 1 by lawn care companies for decades. The dandelion. You've seen it your whole life. That cheerful yellow flower poking up through your grass every spring, driving perfectly reasonable people absolutely insane. My dad used to pay me a quarter for every one I pulled. I made decent money. We were both wrong. Here's what I wish someone had told us back then. Every single part of the dandelion is edible. The roots, the leaves, the flowers, even the stem. Nothing goes to waste. The leaves are loaded with vitamins A, B complex, C and E, plus iron, potassium, and magnesium. The young leaves picked before the flower opens are mild enough to toss straight into a salad. They taste a little like arugula, slightly bitter in a good way. The roots, you can dry them, roast them, and grind them into a coffee substitute that actually supports liver health. And the flowers? Make dandelion wine. Make fritters. Drop them into a salad for color and a touch of sweetness. Pharmacological research has confirmed that dandelions have real, science-backed anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and even anti-diabetic properties. This is not folktale stuff anymore. And here's the kicker. Dandelion greens are now sold in grocery stores across the country. People are paying for something that is currently growing free in their yard. Probably right now, as you're watching this. Don't pull it. Harvest it. Next up is one that almost everyone has stepped on at least 1,000 times without giving it a second thought. Plantain. And no, not the banana-looking fruit. I'm talking about the flat, low-growing plant with the thick parallel veins running down each leaf. It's in every lawn, every sidewalk crack, every suburban backyard in America. Here's my honest opinion on plantain. This is the most underrated plant on this entire list. Not the flashiest, not the most nutritious, but for practical, everyday usefulness, nothing comes close. Native Americans called it white man's foot because it seemed to spring up everywhere Europeans went. They watched it spread and recognized it immediately as a powerful healing plant. They were right. Crush a fresh plantain leaf and press it onto a bee sting, a mosquito bite, a small cut, or a rash. Within minutes, the itching starts to ease. The leaf draws out inflammation like a natural poultice. I've done this dozens of times in my own garden when I didn't have anything else on hand, and it genuinely works. The young leaves are also edible. You can steam them, boil them, sauté them, or brew them into a tea that has traditionally been used for urinary tract health and respiratory support. This plant asks nothing from you. It grows without water, without fertilizer, without any help whatsoever. And it gives you a first aid kit every time you step outside. Next time you see it on the ground, don't step over it. Pick it up. Now, let's talk about something tiny that most people have completely ignored their entire lives. Chickweed. It grows low to the ground, spreading like a soft green carpet in the shady, moist corners of your yard. Small leaves, little white star-shaped flowers, easy to miss, even easier to pull out and toss in the compost without a second thought. Big mistake. Chickweed is rich in phosphorus, calcium, and iron. The young leaves have a mild, slightly grassy flavor, honestly pleasant, and they work beautifully in early spring salads when almost nothing else in the garden is ready yet. Think of it as nature's way of bridging the gap between winter and your first real harvest. Medicinally, chickweed has been used for centuries as a topical poultice for minor burns, rashes, and skin irritation. You can also brew it into a gentle tea used traditionally as a mild diuretic. What I love about chickweed is the timing. It shows up before almost everything else. February, March, when the garden is still mostly mud, chickweed is already there, already green, already ready to eat. It's like the land is saying, "Here, I've got you covered." Don't wait for your garden to wake up. Your yard is already feeding you. Okay, pause for a second. I'm genuinely curious where you're watching this from right now. Drop your city or state in the comments below. I love seeing where this community is spread out. Last time I asked, we had people from 42 states. Let's see if we can beat that today. Moving on, and this one is beautiful. Wild violet. If you live in the eastern half of the United States, you know these little purple and white flowers. They pop up in early spring, tucked into the grass, along fence lines, in the cracks of your walkway. Most people yank them out. Some people feel slightly guilty about it because they're pretty. You should feel guilty. But not because they're pretty, because you're throwing away food. Wild violet leaves and flowers are completely edible, and they're surprisingly nutritious. They're high in vitamin C and contain real anti-inflammatory compounds. The flowers can be tossed into salads for a gorgeous pop of color, made into violet-infused vinegar, steeped into syrup, or even crystallized with sugar for cake decorations. Chefs at upscale restaurants use edible violet flowers as garnishes. They pay for them. Yours are free. And here's something practical. Wild violets are aggressive spreaders. Once they're established in your yard, they actually crowd out other weeds doing your work for you. So, letting them grow isn't laziness. It's strategy. Now, here's one that surprised me the first time I tasted it in the wild. Wood sorrel. It looks almost exactly like a shamrock. 3 little heart-shaped leaves, sometimes with a purple tint, small yellow flowers. You've probably seen it growing in the shaded parts of your yard or in containers on your porch. The taste is the revelation. It's bright, tangy, lemony like nature put a tiny shot of lemon juice inside a leaf. Kids absolutely love it. The first time I handed a leaf to my nephew and told him to taste it, his eyes went wide. He ate about 30 of them straight off the plant. Wood sorrel has been used traditionally to make cooling drinks to ease fever and quench thirst on hot days. Both the leaves and flowers are edible, and a handful of them can completely transform a salad, a sauce, or a garnish. One note, wood sorrel contains oxalic acid. So, like spinach or rhubarb, you want to enjoy it in moderation rather than eating it by the pound. But as a fresh, flavorful addition to your cooking, it's outstanding. Fine dining restaurants in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles are currently paying specialty foragers for this exact plant. Meanwhile, it's quietly growing in your garden for free. We're halfway through. Let me quickly recap what we've covered. Dandelion, plantain, chickweed, wild violet, wood sorrel. 5 plants, all common, all free, all far more valuable than most people know. The next 5, they get even more interesting. And if you're still watching, first of all, thank you. This stuff matters to me. If you're finding value in this, the single best thing you can do is hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who need to hear this. Okay, let's keep going. Part 2. Plant number 6 is one that I think deserves its own documentary. Lamb's quarters. It grows tall, sometimes 4 to 5 ft, with dusty green diamond-shaped leaves that have a distinctive whitish coating on the underside. You'll find it in disturbed soil, garden beds, the edges of your yard. Most people pull it immediately because it looks weedy and aggressive. Here's what those people don't know. Lamb's quarters is more nutritious than spinach, more calcium than spinach, more protein than spinach, more vitamin C than spinach, more vitamin A. It contains more iron and protein than raw cabbage. And here's the comparison that gets me every time. Its seeds are a direct cousin of quinoa, the grain that we now pay $8 or $9 a bag for at the grocery store. Quinoa's wild ancestor is growing in your backyard asking for nothing, thriving in poor soil, needing 0 water. 1 oz of lambs provides 65% of your daily recommended vitamin A and 37% of your vitamin C. The young leaves taste great raw in salads. The older leaves you can cook exactly like spinach sauté with olive oil and garlic, and you have a side dish that rivals anything from your garden. The seeds can be ground and added to flour or cereal. This plant was a staple grain crop in North America for thousands of years before corn took over. We traded it away, forgot it, and started calling it a weed. I think that was one of the worst nutritional mistakes this continent ever made. Now we get to the one that terrifies people on contact. Literally, stinging nettle. Yes, I know you've walked through it. You know what it feels like. Those tiny hollow hairs on the leaves inject formic acid and histamine directly into your skin the moment you touch them. It's unpleasant. But here's the thing. That sting disappears completely the second you cook it. Blanch the leaves in boiling water for 30 seconds, and those stinging hairs are completely neutralized. What you're left with is one of the most nutritious cooked greens you can put on a plate. Nettle is loaded with vitamins A, B complex, K, and D. It's rich in iron, calcium, potassium, and silica minerals that most Americans are chronically low in. Nutritionally, it performs like kale, and spinach had a very ambitious baby. Medicinally, nettle has real research behind it. It's been studied for its ability to reduce allergy symptoms, working almost like a natural antihistamine. It supports joint health, improves circulation, and the root has been studied for prostate health in men. Nettle tea is one of the most popular herbal teas in Europe. In Germany, Austria, and the UK, it's mainstream, sold in every grocery store, drunk daily by millions of people. In the US, we treat the plant like a hazard. Pick it with gloves, sauté it with butter and garlic. You will not believe how good it is. This next one is specifically for the women watching, though honestly, everyone should pay attention. Red clover. You know this one. Those little pink-purple pom-pom flowers that show up in your lawn every summer, bobbing around in the breeze. Most people mow right over them. Bees love them, and there's a very good reason for that. Red clover is one of the most nutrient-dense flowering plants that grows wild in American yards. Red clover contains compounds called isoflavones, phytoestrogens that have a similar chemical structure to estrogen. Clinical studies have found that these compounds can meaningfully reduce hot flashes in perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. One double-blind study found that red clover isoflavone supplementation over 1 year reduced bone loss from the spine by 45% compared to placebo. Red clover supplements are sold in pharmacies right now for $15 to $30 a bottle. The flowers and leaves are edible. The flowers can be dried and brewed into a pleasant, mildly sweet tea. Red clover also belongs to the legume family, which means it actively fixes nitrogen in your soil, improving the health of your entire yard while it grows. One important note: if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or have a history of hormone-sensitive conditions, talk to your doctor before consuming red clover regularly. Like any powerful plant, it deserves respect. But for most people, this little pink flower doing its thing in your lawn is quietly offering something real. We're almost at the finish line. This next one stops people in their tracks because you literally cannot miss it. Mullein. If you've ever seen a plant that looks like a giant candle or a medieval torch growing in an empty lot, a roadside, or a neglected corner of a yard, that's mullein. It can grow 6, 7, even 8 feet tall. Thick, velvety leaves arranged in a rosette at the base with a towering spike of yellow flowers reaching toward the sky. It looks like it belongs in a fantasy novel, but its real story is just as remarkable. Mullein has been used for over 2,000 years as a treatment for respiratory ailments. The ancient Greek physician Dioscorides recommended it for lung diseases. In Appalachian folk medicine, people brew it into syrup for coughs, bronchitis, and upper respiratory infections. In Ireland, fresh leaves boiled in milk were a traditional remedy for tuberculosis. Modern understanding explains why it works. Mullein leaves contain mucilage, a substance that coats and soothes the inflamed lining of your airways, plus saponins that act as natural expectorants, thinning mucus and making it easier to clear from your lungs. Today, mullein is sold in health food stores across the country as a lung support supplement in capsules, teas, tinctures, and oils. People pay good money for it, and it's growing wild in fields and roadsides near almost every American town. Brew the dried leaves into a tea, strain it well, and drink it slowly. It has a mild, slightly earthy flavor. Your respiratory system will thank you. And now, we've arrived at the one I saved for last. The one that, in my opinion, deserves to be the most famous plant in this entire video. Purslane. It's a low-growing, succulent, thick reddish stems, small rounded green leaves, tiny yellow flowers. It spreads across bare soil, driveways, garden beds, patio edges. It is, according to global surveys, the most widely reported weed species on Earth. It grows on every continent. It grows in conditions that would kill most other plants. And it is, without question, a nutritional powerhouse hiding in plain sight. Here's the fact that floors me every single time. Purslane contains the highest levels of omega-3 fatty acids of any land-based plant on Earth. Let that sink in for a second. We associate omega-3s with salmon, with fish oil capsules, with expensive supplements. But purslane, the thing you've been pulling out of your garden bed, contains 5 to 7 times more omega-3s than spinach. It provides 6 times more vitamin E than spinach, 7 times more beta-carotene than carrots, It also contains melatonin, betalains, and a full spectrum of vitamins and minerals. The World Health Organization has listed purslane as one of the most important medicinal plants in the world. In Mexico, it's a beloved ingredient called verdolaga, used in traditional cooking for generations. In France, it's sold in produce markets as a salad green. In China, it's known as the vegetable for long life. In the United States, we pay someone to spray chemicals on it. I genuinely find that baffling. I've been growing purslane intentionally for 3 years now, and I put it in salads and pesto, in smoothies. It has a mild, slightly lemony, slightly salty flavor, like a cross between spinach and watercress. It's genuinely delicious. If you take nothing else from this video, learn to identify purslane. Don't kill it, eat it. So here's where we land. 10 plants, all of them growing wild right now in yards across America. None of them cost a cent. None of them need to be planted, watered, or fertilized. The land is just offering them to you quietly, persistently, every single season. My neighbor is going to go out again next week and spray his lawn. He'll spend another $60 making sure nothing grows that he didn't plant himself. And I'll be on the other side of the fence, harvesting purslane for dinner and making mullein tea and not saying a word. Because here's what I've come to believe after years of paying attention to this. Nature is extraordinarily generous. It keeps putting food and medicine right at our feet. We've just spent the last several decades being convinced to reject it. This week, before you pull a single weed, take 1 minute to look at what you actually have. Take a photo. Check this list. You might be surprised what's already growing for you. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever eaten any of these plants before? Which one surprised you the most? I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to know. And if this video gave you something useful, please share it with someone who's out there fighting their lawn right now. They need to see this. I'll see you in the next one, where we're going to take these same plants and turn them into actual meals. Real food. Stuff you'd actually want to serve to other people. Not survival food. Real cooking. See you there. If this story changed the way you look at the weeds in your garden, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. We are uncovering the history and value that they have tried to bury. Let's plant the seeds for a better future. The next treasure will be revealed soon.